Pre-need, funerals, burials, or cremations, it is Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Graveside service for Mr. Jasper Mullins, age 62, is this morning at 11 a.m. from the Rockford City Cemetery. Online condolences at curtisonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing Reverend Jeff Fuller will officiate that service. That's graveside service this morning at 11 o'clock at the Rockford City Cemetery for Mr. Jasper Mullins of Hanover, age 62. There will be a memorial service for Ethel Moist Perkins, who passed away June 24th at St. Martin's in the Pines in Birmingham. That memorial service will be held at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Childersburg on Wednesday, June 28th at 2 p.m. Visitation following. And in lieu of flowers, you may make contribution to the St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Childersburg or the Childersburg Educational Foundation, P.O. Box 303, Childersburg, Alabama 35044. For both those organizations. Charter Funeral Home will direct the service, and Mrs. Perkins, she was a very powerfully active in the civil rights movement, and as a first step into integrating school, she taught at Phyllis Wheatley when it was still K through 12. She worked at most every one of the Childersburg schools over her tenure. She was a founding member of the Childersburg Education Foundation in 1998, which continues to improve and to provide support in education. That's a memorial service for Ethel Moist Perkins. That service on Wednesday at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Childersburg, beginning at 2 p.m. Funeral service for Mr. Clarence Jeffrey Woodall, age 62, is Wednesday at 2 o'clock from Mount Canaan Baptist Church. That's with Bishop W.E. Frazier officiating. Interment with military honors in the church cemetery. Sims Funeral Service in Talladega directing. Mr. John David Watts, age 49, died June 25th. He was a graduate of Goodwater High School and served in the U.S. Army. He was also an LPN at Talladega Health and Rehab and a member of the Mount Hebron Church of Christ. Visitation for Mr. Watts will be Wednesday from noon until 2 at Mount Hebron Church of Christ, followed by the funeral service at 2 with Minister Tommy Calley and Minister John Rice officiating. Burial in the church cemetery with Minister Eddie Pierce officiating. Lineville Memorial Funeral Home directing that service. Online condolences at linevillememorial.com. Funeral service for Sonia Joy Parker, age 34, is 1 o'clock Wednesday at Africa Missionary Baptist Church. Interment in the church cemetery. The body will lie in state at the church 1 hour prior to the service. Online condolences at terrysmortuary.com. Terry's Metropolitan Mortuary directing. Mrs. Shirley A. Farrell, age 67, died June 24th. Funeral service will be held today at 3 o'clock from Claremont Springs Baptist Church in Lineville with the Reverend Terry Smith officiating. Online condolences at TalladagaFuneralHomeInc.com. Talladega Funeral Home directing. Graveside service for Mr. Kenneth Floyd, age 61 of Sylacauga, is Wednesday at 2 p.m. from Evergreen Cemetery. Mr. Floyd died June 22nd. Online condolences at CurtisandSonFH.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel directing. And funeral service for Mr. Billy Charles McKimmey, age 70 of Alexander City, is Thursday at 2 p.m. from Trinity Campus of First United Methodist Church. Reverend Mike Dinsmore officiating. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. Veterans honors provided by the Alexander City Veterans Honor Guard at the graveside. The body will lie in state at the church 1 hour prior to the service. The family will receive friends Wednesday evening from 5 until 7 at Radney Funeral Home. Mr. McKenzie died June 25th at Lake Martin Community Hospital. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radneyfuneralhome.com. Mr. McKimmey served his country in the National Guard 214th Military Police Company and was a veteran of Desert Storm. Radney Funeral Home in charge of the arrangements. That's a look at obituaries this morning, brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. For pre-need funerals, burials, or cremations, it's Curtis & Son Funeral Home since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg, Sylacauga.